So, I saw Trey Edward Shults' It Comes at Night a few days ago, and in my opinion, it was phenomenal. I do have to say, though, before we get into the review, that this film was not made for passive viewing. In fact, this film was most definitely made for film snobs. I know because on Flickster, the critic versus user score looks like this. I also know because I took my boyfriend with me to see it, and when it ended, I was all, and he was all. We figured out this is because whereas I watch films with my art and symbolism lens on, he watches films like CinemaSins does. Nothing wrong with that, but if you're going to see this movie, you need your art lens, and you need to pay attention. Shults' film has so many subtleties and so much use of symbolism that as things start to unfold, its deeper, sinister narrative shines through more and more. It's not a feel-good movie, that's for sure. I left this movie with a pit in my stomach and a general sense of dread. Dread because this is real. This movie was acted and played out so well that the choices made by characters and the actions they took felt genuine. Like, it's so rare for you to watch a horror movie today and think, yeah, that's exactly what I would do, but this movie gives you that. Something I absolutely loved about the cinematography was the slow, creeping shots. We get a taste of this in the preview when our protagonist, Travis, walks slowly down a hallway. This was a perfect way to build suspense, in my opinion. Travis would hear a noise and walk slowly towards where it came from as the camera took on his perspective. This was the most natural way to do it, too. In real life, when you hear noise, you're not going to run blindly towards it. You'll feel out your surroundings. You'll creep down the hallway, all the while the knot in your stomach twisting further and further until it almost physically hurts. And this feeling is so perfectly replicated in this film, I just thought it was amazing. And it also helps that Shults gives you characters you actually care about. He does this with so little character development, too. There's a huge amount of strategic ambiguity, but it's not like you need more explanation. You're thrown into the narrative and engrossed in the atmosphere right off the bat. I went in blind, also. All I knew about this movie was the title. I love that the preview gave you so little to work with that you have to figure out the true horror as it unfolds before your eyes. All I'll say at the risk of spoilers is that if you're expecting a monster movie, you'll be disappointed. I took the title to be more of a philosophical question than the promise of an actual it. You'll also be disappointed if you're looking for a satisfying conclusion that answers all of your questions, but personally I wouldn't have had it end any other way. One criticism I'll give, though it's not really a criticism, more of a suggestion, is that, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but I love the way Shults had a lot of dialogue heard by Travis through a wall, a floor, or an air vent. It really gives you that nervous feeling you get when, for example, you know your parents are talking about you, and you know it's something bad, so you press your ear to the air vent or sit on the stairs and try your best to hear, but all you catch are mumbles with one or two coherent words. It was genius, and I think it could have been used even more. Like, the first time it happens, parts of the parents' conversation were heard through the floor, and then Shults puts us in the room with them to hear the rest. I just wish the whole thing were heard through the floor. I think it would have added nicely to the overall tone of the movie. That's about it for this review. If you're a film snob like I know I am, definitely go see this movie. There's just so much to love about it. And by the way, I'm not trying to act like we're above anyone, it's just that I spent thousands of dollars on a piece of paper that basically says I'm allowed to be a douchebag when it comes to movies. Let me have my moment. Thanks for watching!